Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from the sixth group of Sociolinguistic, and today we will present the material in the sixth group. It's about regional and social dialect. But before we start the presentation, let me introduce myself and my partners in this group. My name is Rizky Amelia as the first speaker, and then there is Puji Lestari as the second speaker, and the last there is Listi Angela as the last speaker. Okay, this is the sixth chapter. It's about regional and social dialect. Actually, in this chapter, there are three subbabs. The first is regional variation. It explains about the variation of language based on the regional. And then the second, there is social variation. It's about the accent of English. It is based on education, social, and many other background. And the last, there is social dialect. It's about how social dialect or social group affecting its dialect of social group. And then in social dialect, also there are 3 points or 3 subbab. They are standard English, caste dialects, and social class dialects. But we will more focus on social class dialect, that we will explain about social class dialect on vocabulary, pronunciation, grammatical patterns. So now I want to explain about social class dialect based on vocabulary. Okay, the first point, the term social class is used here as a shorthand term for differences between people which are associated with differences in social prestige, wealth, and education. In many societies or most society, bank manager don't speak as the office cleaner, and also the lawyer don't speak like the burglars that they defend. So, class variation are based on such status differences, and status refers to the differences and also respect people to someone. And then the second point, family background may be a source of status independently of wealth. In Britain, the youngest child of an earl may be poor but respected. So, class is used here as a convenient label for groups of people who share similarities in economic and social status. And the last point, social dialect research in many different countries has revealed a consistent relationship between social class and language patterns. People from different social classes speak differently. The most obvious differences in vocabulary are, in many ways, the least illuminating from a sociolinguistic point of view. So, they clearly capture the public imagination. In 1950s, in England, especially, many pairs of words were identified which it was claimed distinguish between of the speech of upper class English people, or it is called as U speaker, and non-U speaker. For example, U speaker used sitting room rather than non-U speaker said or used lounge. And then U speaker used lavatory, and non-U speaker used toilet. U speaker used relations, and non-U speaker said or used relatives. And the last, U speaker said or used sofa, but non-U speaker used settee. So those are the words that show the differences between upper class people or and non-upper class people in English. Okay, next slide. It's about journal. I found several theories from journal. One of them are the first from Barber and Stanton. Language variation are the object of sociolinguistics, which are the result of the relationship between language and social factors such as age, sex, education, social status, social occasion, professional occupation, and other factors. And next theories from Holmes, it said that social factors can affect vocabulary or word choice, pronunciation, syntax, and morphology. So, those are the explanation about social class on vocabulary. And next material will be carried out or explained by Puji Lestari.
Okay, thank you, Rizky. My name is Puji Lestari, and I'm going to continue the discussion. And my discussion is about social class dialect, pronunciation, age dropping. The first is the speech of different social groups. Groups are often distinguished by the frequency with which they use particular feature rather than by their use of completely different forms. So what does it mean? It means the differences are often not absolute, but rather matters of frequencies. Exactly the same is true for the speech of different social groups. Groups are often distinguished by the frequency with which they use particular features rather than by their use of completely different forms. So, how some social groups speak English words differently. So it's about how they pronounce English words differently. And next discussion is the example. So it will be easy with this example. This example is about Usa Pragji, a New Zealand student, taped a radio broadcast of two elderly people's accounts of their childhood in Edwardian Wellington, the capital city of New Zealand. The two speakers contrasted on a range of social variables. So I took example from Usha Pragji study. Let's take a look at this example. Marjorie lived in what she described as a new large hideous Edwardian mansion. Her father was a lawyer. Her mother had been one of the first women students at Canterbury College, part of the University of New Zealand. Marjorie went to Miss Barber's private school until her early teens, when she was provided with a governess. George Davis lived with 4 members of his family in a small house. His mother was a solo parent whose only steady income came from keeping grandmother. As George said, "We weren't hard up, we were absolutely poverty-stricken." Illustrating this, he recounted that they sometimes took palings off the fence for firewood, and you could pretty well tell the state of the family finances by whether grandma's inlaid brooch was in the pawn shop or not. So you can see, based on this example, Marjorie and George Davis have different social background. So the example from this study is the two recordings were analyzed to see whether there were differences between the speakers in terms of the numbers of age they dropped in words like house. Usha, as the researcher, found that Marjorie didn't omit a single age, while George Davis dropped 83% of age, which occurred in his interview. The speakers' different social backgrounds were clearly signaled by the different proportions of this feature of their speech. This speech variable is widely called age dropping, a label which you should not represent the viewpoint of speakers of the standard. It has been analyzed in many social dialect studies of English. It also happens into 5 different social groups in 2 different places in England, West Yorkshire and Norwich. So, the conclusion from this study is majority didn't omit a single age, or she doesn't do age dropping in some English words. Meanwhile, George Davis dropped 83% of age which occur in his interview. And my next discussion is about William Labov's study. William Labov studied about New York City speech. He designed a sociolinguistic interview to elicit a range of speech styles from 120 people from different social backgrounds, and then he analyzed their pronunciations of number of different consonants and vowels. The way different pronunciation fall into a pattern indicating the social class of their speakers was first demonstrated by William Labov in a study New York City speech, which is now regarded as a classic sociolinguistics. He designed a sociolinguistic interview to elicit a range of speech styles from 120 people from different social backgrounds. And then he analyzed their pronunciations of a number of different consonants and vowels. He found regular patterns relating the social class of the speakers to percentage of standard as opposed to vernacular pronunciations they produced. Some of the linguistic features he studied have been found to pattern socially in English-speaking communities all over the world. The pronunciation ing versus in at the end of words like sleeping and swimming, for instance, distinguishes social groups in every English-speaking community in which it has been investigated. And next, another examples beside age dropping. As I mentioned before, in William Labov's study, there is difference between people say ing versus in. So this is another examples beside age dropping, ing versus in, and variant of R. Besides age dropping and ing versus in, there are 2 possible variants of R. Either it is present and pronounced R, or it is absent. If you listen to a range of dialects, you will find that sometimes people pronounce R following a vowel and sometimes they don't. In some regions, pronouncing R is part of the standard prestige dialect. In the Boston and New York areas of the eastern USA, another example, in Ireland and in Scotland, though research suggests that this is changing in the speech of young working class people in Glasgow and Edinburgh. For variant R example, are water, maybe you already found or heard some English speaking community in all over the world speak or do R variant R. Either it is present and pronounced R, or it is absent. For example, some of them say water, and some other people say water, and or another word potter and potter. So it relates with their social backgrounds and their habit to speak its words. And The next discussion will be continued by Listi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Listi Angela Nursoba, and here I will continue to explain about social dialects in grammatical pattern. Okay, so here an example. You can see Wina is 8 years old and she is telling a visitor the story of a film she has seen. She said, and then these little flies went to go and they made a house by themselves, and this big fly was playing his guitar. He play and play, then the little flies was making the house, and then the flies chew these leaves off altogether. Okay, in English-speaking communities, it was found that children from lower class families and use more vernacular verb forms than children from middle class family. And here are the example forms that are past tense, present tense, negative forms, and end. For the first past tense, you can see that higher class use the sentence correctly. They use I finished that book yesterday. Finish here using ed or past participle, and this is correct. And lower class not use ed or past participle for past tense, and this is incorrect. I finished that book yesterday. And for present tense is also the same. Higher class use the grammatical correctly. Rose walks to school every day. After the word walks there is a participle as. It's present tense. And for the lower class they don't use as after walk, and this is incorrect. Rose walked to school every day. And from negative forms is also the same like past tense and present tense. You can see the difference. Nobody wants any chips. Nobody don't want no chips. And for ain't, Jim isn't stupid. Higher class using is not or isn't stupid, and for lower class mostly use Jim ain't stupid. And number 10 and 9 and 10, you can see also it ain't no kid can get in no coop. Translated into standard English, the meaning of this uterine in the context was stand. There isn't any cat that can get into any pigeon coop, or more simply, no cat can get into any coop. This is the difference between higher class and lower class mostly used in grammatical pattern. And here the sentence 11, we ain't had no trouble about none of us pulling out no knife. Sentence 11 comes from adolescent in Detroit. They use multiple negative here. There are ain't and no. There is multiple no here in this sentence. Okay, so as with pronunciation, there is clear a pattern. There is a clear pattern to the relationship between the grammatical speech forms and the social groups who use them. The higher social group use more of standard grammatical form and fewer instances of the vernacular or non-standard form. With the grammatical pattern, the third person singular form of the present tense regular verb, for example, standard she walks versus vernacular she walked. There is a sharp distinction between the middle class group and lower class groups. Sociolinguists describe this pattern as sharp stratification. People are often more aware of social stigma in relation to vernacular grammatical forms, and this is reflected in the lower incidence of vernacular forms among middle class speakers in particular. Note that this pattern is found both in a variety of US English spoken in Detroit and in a variety of British English spoken in Norwich. Sentence 6, you can see nobody don't want no chips. In the list illustrates a pattern of negation, which is sometimes called negative concord or multiple negation, where standard English allows only one negative in each clause. Most vernacular dialects can have two or more. You can see for negative from higher class using nobody wants any chips, there are only one negative forms And for the lower class, they use multiple negative like don't and no. Nobody don't want no chips. There is don't and no. In some dialects, every possible for which can be negated is negated. Okay, so multiple negation is a grammatical construction which has been found in all English-speaking communities where a social dialect study has been done. In every community studied, it is much more frequent in lower class speech than in middle class speech. In fact, there is usually a dramatic contrast, sharp stratification again between the groups in the amount of multiple negation used. It is rare in a middle class speech. Multiple negation is a very salient vernacular form. People notice it when it is used even once, unlike, say, the use of a glottal stop for the standard pronunciation "the" at the end of a word, where the percentage of glottal stops generally needs to be quite high before people register them. The dramatic split evident between middle class and lower class usage of multiple negation indicates this salience. Middle class speakers tend to avoid it, while lower class speakers use it more comfortably. Okay, so here are the journal that I found about this grammatical pattern. Well, the first is Sociolinguistic Study of Linguist Variation and Codometrics in Kanpur, India. And the second is Elaboration on Social Class Bands Differences in Applying Persian Forms. Okay, the first is Sociolinguistic Study a sociolinguistic study of linguistic variation and code metric in Kanpur. Here the abstract, the diversity of languages and social structures in India has created a complex yet sustainable relation between linguistic variation and social classification. This journal proposes a sociolinguistic study of linguistic variation and code metrics in Kanpur city. It shall be interesting to note the social behaviors mirrored in different language usages, variety of codes and resultant code mixings and code switching. The study of code metrics shall define the current status of different languages and dialects in the city. Hence, the study shall attempt to underline the temper, inclination, and aspiration of language community of Kanpur through its linguistic variation, along with indicating the growth of Kanpuriya Hindi and evolving English in the city of Kanpur or in India English. And the second one is elaboration on social class based differences in applying Persian forms. Okay, so here the abstract. Although every language consists of many dialects used under the influence of varying social and regional factors, a standard dialect is greatly appreciated, whereas less standard dialects are seriously downgraded by some social class-based societies. Thus, the study investigated the use of less standard Persian language formed by 123 Iranian females concerning their educational degrees and ages. The findings reveal significant differences among the educational levels and age groups in applying the language items. However, no significant interaction was reported between the educational levels and age groups in using less standard forms. Okay, now let's go to the conclusion. The conclusion is social dialect surveys have demonstrated that stable variables tend to divide English-speaking communities sharply, the middle class and lower or working classes. The patterns of age dropping and IH vs I and pronunciation clearly divide the middle class group from the lower class group in Norwich. Grammatical variables do the same. There is a sharp rise in the number of vernacular forms between the middle class groups and the lower class group, both in Detroit and in Norwich, and the same pattern has been observed in many other communities. As mentioned above, this pattern has been labeled sharp stratification. Okay, so that's all for me. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.